Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Today we are having our 77th meeting of Toastmasters, Technopark Toastmasters, and Toastmasters is international is a non-profit organization started by Ralph Bentley to promote public speaking. Let's stop the recording. There is something wrong. So Toastmasters International is a non-profit organization started by Rasmus Bentley to promote public speaking. The mission, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. There are some ground rules that we should follow before starting our meeting. Please refrain from making any reference to religion, politics, and sex in your speech, which may hurt others' sentiments. Please turn off all the noise-making devices like mobile phone or put them in silent mode. Avoid crosstalk when someone is speaking. Considering this virtual setup, please ensure that you mute yourself if you are not speaking. So once again, I welcome everyone and all the guests to this meeting. Let me hand over to the president of the day, Prakash. Over to you, Prakash.
Thank you, Master Aashik. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Technopark Toastmasters meeting number 77. Today, we are having a really interesting session about speech writing. But before that, let me say about an incident. So I was, scrolling through my Facebook page yesterday, and one question caught my attention from my friend. It's a post. It's about, in every night or occasionally you have to sit back and retrospect on the things that you have done. And he was having a conversation with his wife, and his wife, he asked the same question. So what was the thing that you found really interesting when you retrospected? And one particular, he listed down a few things, and out of that one point really caught my attention. She was saying, she was kind of confused whether the education that she had really helped her. Right now, they are running a business. So I started thinking, contemplating about that idea, how that is a possible thing. They did not elaborate on what they thought. So I was contemplating various options. Then I thought, yeah, that might be true, because once you start learning about stuff, once you learn about a lot of stuffs, you are given a lot of opportunities. You explore on various ideas and all those things. That makes you basically stop, and there are a lot of options right now in front of you. The education basically opens up for that option. That basically forces you to look at different options, and you will be kind of stuck with which option to do. More choice that you have, the more doubtful that you will become, the more regretful that you will become once you take a choice. So once you are educated, the discipline is going to be an important thing, because otherwise it would be really difficult. For example, if you look at maybe Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, that's one of the reasons why he is wearing the same color clothes daily. They wanted to reduce the options that they have. That's maybe the downside of education or learning so many things. And that's also true, because if you look at most of the business people, the people who started on their own, mostly they either drop out of college or they have less formal education. Well, that's not something a point that we need to look at, even if we have that idea. But when it comes to our kids, we force them to study and learn about a lot of things. Even with that option, the other area that you need to cultivate along with education is discipline. Because without discipline, you will not be able to concentrate on a single option and choose that career path or focus your energy on that. So with that thought, let us get into our meeting. And as usual, I forgot to open the meeting. So here I am. As the president of Technopark Toastmasters Club, let me officially open this meeting. So we have a really interesting person today as the TMOD. So she was contemplating whether she should take up this option or not. Then finally, she pinged me, well, I am going to take this role. So here we are, a teacher turned business analyst. Over to you, Toastmaster. You're on mute, Vineetha. No, we are not able to hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now? The thing is, like, I'm speaking from my mobile phone, but the video is from the Zoom laptop. So actually, there is one more Vineetha you can see in the meeting. So that is from my mobile, because the Zoom has some problem. The audio doesn't work. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So once again, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So it is my honor and privilege to be the Toastmaster of the day today for the Technopark Toastmaster meeting number 77. So let me introduce to you the theme of today, which is a very simple word, but a very powerful word. It is perspective. And to put perspective into perspective, let me start by telling you a simple story. So there were two twins, John and Tony, and on their birthday, their father decided to fill both their rooms with different gifts. So in John's room, he filled it with so many toys, a lot of toys. And in Tony's room, he filled it with cow dung. And then he just waited to see what the children, how their experience or their reaction will be. So after some time, he went to John's room, and then he saw John is sitting among the toys and he's crying. So the father was surprised. So he went and he asked, John, what happened, baby? Why are you crying? John was like, look, Dad, there are so many toys. Now all the children will come and they will all want to play with my toys. Then my toys will get broken. And also there is battery. The battery will run out. And he was going on saying this and that. And the father was, shocked. What is this child saying? So then father was sure. Now, if you go to Tony's room, like he will be wailing over there. So he went to Tony's room. But Tony was sitting amidst the dung and he was jumping up and down. And the father was again surprised. So the father said, Tony, why are you jumping? What are you doing? So Tony was like, look, Dad, there is dung over here. So that means there is a pony outside. So the pony must have come into my room, and he was so happy. And the father was astonished. So friends, I know that this is a silly story, but the message that it is trying to tell you is that everything is just a matter of perspective. It is up to us to look at the glass as half full or half empty. We can be an optimist or a pessimist. We can decide whether we should be hopeful in situations. Should we try to find the good in every bad situation? Should we look on the bright side? Or we can just be realists and, we can try to search and find the black cloud in every silver lining. So I'm not telling that, life is always happy and you're always smiling. There is no sadness. You won't face disappointments. And, if you just have the perspective, everything will work out the way you want. No, that is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that no matter what, you have the control or power to know how to react in those situations. Situation can be anything, but you can choose to react like you want. So just like Wayne Dyer once said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So I hope this is a thought for all of us. So let's have a session so that I can hear what you guys think about this. What is your perspective on perspectives? Over to you guys. Is anyone volunteering to give me a fresh perspective on perspective?
Vineetha, Arathi here. Good morning. What a lovely story and very apt theme. Today, I was out for beach cleaning as part of my CSR initiative. And when we went there were two kinds of people who were thinking, oh my God, this beach is so damn dirty. And the other set was saying, wow, lots of garbage. We can collect a lot and clean it up. So I think around us, we will see what we want to do. We are looking at the end result. We'll see a garbage out there. It's up to us to complain about it or pick it up, make it better than how we entered it. Thank you, and back to you, Vineetha.
Thank you, Arathi. So that was nice. So today's morning, in today's morning session itself, you could find to relate the beach cleaning with perspective. So that is nice. Yeah, that is good. Like, when we go and do service, sometimes it is difficult for us if you want to clean and, usually we go to the beach to relax. So when you want to take waste, only if you want to enjoy that, you have to change your perspective. Otherwise, how can anybody enjoy picking up waste? So that was a good thought. Anybody else? Should I call upon someone? Aswathi, what do you think?
Yeah, actually, it is a very good thought, because most of the time we concentrate only on problems. We didn't think about solutions. So it's a good thought.
Okay.
Over to you.
Thank you.
Vineetha.
Thank you, Ashwati. So Prakash, do we have time to call some more people, or what should we do for this?
I think you can go ahead with the meeting because we have speech also. Okay.
So I would like to move on with our meeting. So let me introduce the general evaluator of the day today. For that, we have with us Toastmaster Radhika. Toastmaster Radhika is the head of HR at Ozonatal, and she's passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and she loves a good debate any day. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Radhika to explain the evaluation process and the team to support her. Over to you, Toastmaster Radhika.
Hello, Radhika, you're on mute.
I'm back. So there was a power failure at the nick of the time. And so good morning, everyone. I'm the general evaluator for the day. My name is Radhika Vishwanathan, and my role today is to evaluate the meeting in general, and also I will have a tag team to support me and evaluating the happenings during the meeting, and also the various other functions for a speech evaluation. So I will call for the report from my tag team and then submit it before you at the end of the session in the feedback segment. So now let me call upon my tag team, starting with the timer, Toastmaster Prabin. Toastmaster Prabin, as a developer in Oracle, hails from Kanyakumari. Watching movies and cycling is his passion. And I can already visualize Prabin cycling through the beautiful landscape along the beach in Kanyakumari. Over to you, Toastmaster Prabin.
Greetings, Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmaster and guests. As timer, I will time all the speakers today, which includes prepared speech, table topic speech, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denotes specific time remains depend on their speech. For table topics, the speakers should limit their remarks to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will show the green card. At 1 minute, 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. And 2 minutes, I will show the red card. You will get a grace period of 30 seconds to wind up for which the red card remains displayed until you finish and hand over control back. Icebreaker speech should be 4 to 6 minutes in length. At 4 minutes, I will show the green card. At 5 minutes, I will show the yellow card, and at 6 minutes, I will show the red card. The individual evaluation should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will show the green card. 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. At 3 minutes, I will show the red card. Thank you, and back to general evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prabin, for explaining the timer role. And the next one is the R-counter role. To present and detail the R-counter roles and responsibilities, I would call upon Toastmaster Aswathi Narayan. Aswathi Narayan is the Associate Project Manager in Pitch Solution, and she loves designing clothes and stitching. So you know where to go when you want designer clothes for any events or occasions. Aswathi Narayan, over to you to explain the role of an R-counter. Thank you.
Thank you, Radhika. Very good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R-counter is to note down the words, sounds that are used as crunch or pause or filler anyone who speaks. During this meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. I will also listen to the filler words, including and I will also note down when speaker repeats a word or a phrase, such as this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker used these expressions. Thank you, Radhika. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aswathi. And now we come to Grammarian of the Day, Toastmaster Arathi Rajeshwari, as the Charter President of Technopark and the Senior Leader in Suntech. She needs no introduction, but the influencer she is, gently prodding and encouraging all of us to take that extra step. Amazing personality. Over to you, Arathi.
Thank you, Radhika, for introducing me with a different perspective. Fellow Toastmasters, good morning. As a grammarian, I will be paying close attention to everyone's language usage. I will be looking out for good usage and suggest improvements when the usage has not been so good. As a grammarian, I will also introduce a word of the day. Word of the day today is myopic. Myopic means short-sighted. It also means lacking foresight or intellectual insight. The most common usage is most myopic children is associated with a vision. We say most myopic children can be fitted with glasses to correct their vision. The other usage, lacking foresight, we can say the government has a myopic attitude to public spending. Can I ask one or two usages of the word myopic? Kavita, can you give a usage for myopic?
Yes, Arathi. So with the myopic insight I had to reschedule the meeting 2 or 3 times.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you, Kavita, for being on the spot. Back to you, Radhika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arathi. So as I have detailed, the tag team will give me the report at the end of the sessions and speeches, and we will come back to you to present our findings and observations for the day. Thank you very much, and over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Vineetha.
Thank you, General Evaluator Radhika. Thank you for explaining the evaluation process for us very well. So now let us move on to a very interesting session, which is the educational session on speech writing and contest preparation. And since it is a contest season now, I am sure that everybody is very eager to listen to the session. I am also very eager because I also want to know how to write a good speech. And for the session, we have with us Toastmaster Arundhuti. Toastmaster Arundhuti juggles with numbers as a regional manager at the London Stock Exchange Group. She enjoys the presence of people and hence became a Toastmaster 2 years back to make friends and connect with people of unique minds. She is the district champion in the International Speech Contest, Table Topic Contest, and the first runner-up in the District Evaluation Contest for the year 2021 to 2022 in District 92. A 3-time Triple Crown awardee, she has been the recipient of the Spearhead Award for the 2021-22 in the District 92 and was the president of 2 President's Distinguished Clubs in 2021 and 2022. Currently, serving as the area director in District 112, she has ventured into the world of Toastmasters as a speechcraft coordinator, club mentor, club coach, and mentor to fellow Toastmasters. Toastmaster Arundhuti, we are really happy to have you here and we're eagerly waiting for your session. So I invite you. Over to you, Toastmaster Arundhuti.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vineetha. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and any guests in the room. I must say, Toastmaster Vineetha just made me feel so good about myself with that introduction. It's been a while I've heard all of that. So thank you so much for making that effort. Very good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and I hope all of you are all geared up for the contest. I was told by Toastmaster Prakash that today's session we want to discuss about how to write speeches that will help us in ISC. I must tell you that there's no wrong and right about writing a speech, and all I can do for you today is share my experience of what worked for me, and you can decide what works best for you from that. So if any of it helps you, I'd be more than glad. But before I get started, let me just see how many of you are awake on a Saturday morning. It's too much of an ask. I don't see a lot of people on video. Yeah, I can see Arathi and Aashik now. So that reminds me that everybody's awake. Okay, that's good. So tell me something. How many times have you deferred a speech and gone back and told your VP education, I'll do this next week. My script is not ready yet. Anybody in the room? Me for sure. I've done that many times. And then how many times does this happen that you've written a script and you're very happy about it? You really loved the story that you were going to tell. You delivered the speech and then you felt that it didn't create the impact that you wanted to. Just somewhere fell short of your expectations. Ever? Me all the time. I always feel that, oh, something more should have been there. Well, so today let's collectively see if we can conquer some of these spaces and become slightly more proficient with script writing, and most importantly, see what works when it comes to delivery. Now, I have already seen timer Prabin, so I'm going to hope that he'll show me cards at 18, 19, and 20 minutes as told by Toastmaster Prakash, so that I don't overshoot time today. All right, so speech writing, just like the word speech, which starts with S, or the word script, which also starts with S, to me, script writing is about 3 S's. 3 S that you need to keep in mind, or that always work for me. The story, the structure, and then finally, a little bit of streamlining. So we'll get started with the story. Whenever we decide to write a script, especially for contests, because it's a slightly different ball game when it comes to contests. So in this story, there would be primarily 3 things that I would keep in mind. First thing is something that I call a 2GB, but what it really stands for is something that is genuine and something I believe in. The reason it has to be genuine is this has a direct impact on the delivery. When you write a story, but it's not something that is true or something that you believe in, when you come and deliver it, you wouldn't deliver it with conviction. And if there's something that you don't deliver with conviction, it will not connect with your audience. For example, I love chocolates. I can eat them 3 times in a day. All 3 meals can be chocolates. But imagine I did a speech to tell people that chocolates are not good for your health and don't eat them. I might tell you that message, but I won't tell that to you with conviction because I don't believe in it. And as audience, you will not connect with me. So that is why when you write your script, make sure you're talking about something that you personally believe in. As speakers, we cannot go onto stage and fake. Our audience will catch us. So that is why it's important we pick up something that's true, that's genuine, and that we believe in. The second thing, especially for a contest speech that we want to keep in mind, is the power of having a single message. Sometimes we have a lot of pointers in our story. There would be a lot of takeaways. There could be multiple messages from a story. But when you come to the conclusion, it's very important that it's impactful. It leaves that impression. You have scorings for it. So that is why when you have one message that you are going to deliver, it's easier to emphasize. It's easier to reiterate. And it's also easier to leave a lasting impression with the audience. So that is why in a script writing, it would be helpful if we are focusing on a single message, on one message that we finally want to deliver. And please bear in mind, it doesn't mean that it has to be a single story. It could still be multiple stories. It could be different phases of your life, different time zones. You can bring in 2 or 3 stories. Absolutely okay. As long as at the end, it connects to a single message that you finally want to leave with the audience. The other reason for this is, as audience, our reception power is limited. Our attention span is limited. So as a speaker, if you've given 5 takeaways, there are high chances that as an audience, I'll forget when I step out. So to ensure that the audience have given you 7 minutes, if for nothing else, to respect the time that they've given you, there's something you give back to them. And if it's a single one, they'll retain it and they'll remember you for the speech. So let's try and use the power of one single message. Last one, very important, especially for a contest speech, is to write your script in a way that caters to your strength as a speaker. Let's be honest, not all of us have all speaking qualities as our strength. Some of us might be very good with voice. Some of us can use props well, or for some of us, humor might be our strength. We can blend humor very well, subtly throughout our speech. So this weekend, if you are planning to go for contest, which I'm hoping all of you will, please reflect back on all the speeches you have done and think, what is your strength? What is it that you do exceptionally well? And in a contest speech, you want to write your speech in a way that allows you to bring out this strength of yours to the best of your ability. So know your strength and write your script so that it gives you opportunity to utilize that strength of yours. I wouldn't say that the script should be only about your strength. For example, in general, maybe I'm a little high on energy, so that's my strength. But my whole speech cannot be an energetic roller coaster. That's not the ask. But it should allow me to play to the strength of mine, which will give me an edge over others. So know your strength and write your story in a way that allows you to play to your strength. Those would be the 3 elements when you are finalizing the story you want to choose for your speech. You want to ensure it's genuine, you believe in it. It has a single universal message. For international speech contest, this is important because the ultimate goal is the World Championship of Public Speaking, which is a global platform. So that's why you wouldn't want to keep something that's very country, state, region specific. Try and focus on something that's universal, that everybody across the world can relate to. So you want to have the power of a single universal message, and more importantly, know your strength and select a story that will allow you to play to your strength. So that's about the story. Now let's focus on the structure of our speech a little. The general rule, like all of us know from our day 1 of Toastmasters, it should have an opening, a body, a conclusion. That structure still holds good. Any speech can be fitted into that structure very easily. But what are the things that we want to do when we structure that speech? So let's talk about the opening a little. Generally, if you all can give me some feedback on when you write a script, what are the different ways in which you do a speech opening? What are the different ways that you utilize? Any thoughts from anyone?
Arundhuti, I would like to say that I try to open with a quote or something. So then I can relate with that.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. Anybody else? Asking questions, doing a short act. Okay. Anything else from anyone?
I sometimes do story with a role play.
Story with it. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Arathi. So all of these are absolutely valid openings. You can have a quotation, you can have a question, you can have a role play, an act, anything that you wish to. But certain things that you want to keep in mind while designing the opening. The first thing, it shouldn't be extremely long. Like in your 7-minute speech, you spend 1.5 hours to do an opening, and then you say, "Good morning, fellow Toastmasters." Your audience would have lost the opening. They wouldn't have realized that that was the opening of your speech. So be mindful of the time you put into the opening. The purpose of a speech opening is to get your audience gathered. That's really the main purpose that a speech opening serves, because everyone in that 1 minute of silence before your turn comes would be busy doing something else. Judges would be marking their ballots, audience would be taking a quick water break. So when you come onto the stage and you get introduced, that opening will allow you to get everybody back into their speech. And if you can set the context right, then they'll stay with you throughout. So 2 things that you want to keep in mind in the opening. First thing, it shouldn't be too long, so that it's not distinguishable as the opening of the speech. And the second thing is, it should have some connection finally with your story. It can be a quotation that perfectly fits in, a question that you want to ask. But when you ask questions, please be mindful. If you're asking open-ended questions that your audience will take a table topic timing to answer, you will lose your timing. Or you ask an open-ended question, but you give the audience no time to respond back, and probably that draws back the question asking aspect. So you might want to ask rhetorical or close-ended questions where the answer is more of a yes, no, or raising of hand, so you can still have the opportunity to collect that response. So it could be anything, but it needs to get the attention of your audience back. It needs to be short. It needs to tie back to your final story. And also in the opening, you want to be mindful if you're using a role play, or audio, or whatever, leave 1 or 2 seconds after your name is announced. So that if you're playing audio, if you're doing a role play, audience gets that time to understand, to listen. So leave that 1 or 2 seconds in the beginnings, everybody's settled, and then start. That's about the opening. Now let's move to the body. While we say that the first impression is the best impression and the last impression is the lasting impression, and all speakers will tell you your opening needs to gather audience, your conclusion needs to be impactful, these are real crux, but what holds them together is the body. Sometimes we feel that the body is just about the story, but the body really sets you up as a speaker. That's where you spend maximum time. So couple of things about the body of script writing. First thing is equal attention. If your body is of 3 paragraphs, 3 stories, or 2 incidents, ensure that you've not written one incident of 300 words and the other incident of just 100 words. Because then automatically you're putting it to the audience and my first incident was very important. My second incident I've put in just to make my story long. And that's not what we want to put across. So equal, not exactly equal, but as far as possible, equal phasing of the body. Whatever you want to pull out of that body, make sure that you spend equal amount of time so that you do not depict an impression that one part of my story is important, the other part is not important. It's just an add-on. So that's the first thing. Second thing, before you write the body of a script, it's a story, and most common cases, it'll be a personal story. So this is what I want you to do. Close your eyes, remember that incident, take 5 minutes, recall exactly what happened in that incident, what was the setup, how were you placed, what was happening, and then start writing. because it's important that the body of your story needs to elude that genuine emotion. That's what it needs to put across. And for it to have those genuine emotions, the exact setting to allow your audience to come with you on that journey as you go through the body, it's important you remember the incident and then start writing. Another thing that you want to use in the script writing body is the power of visual words. When I say visual words, imagine I was doing a speech on this exact session that I'm doing today, and I go and it was a Zoom meeting. I had a couple of audience in there. It was a session on speech writing. It's okay. People can listen. But if I go in there and say that it was a meeting in my computer screen and I had lovely smiling faces, people asking questions, this is how one of my audience member looked, immediately my audience can imagine that meeting. So use the power of visual words, the color, the dimensions, the feel of it, whatever elements you're using in your story, it will be dependent on that. But you want to allow your audience to visualize that scene, to be with you in that scene, to feel like they are in that journey with you. So use the power of visual words. Also, you want to use the structures that will allow you to use the skill sets of speaking. For example, voice, gesture. These are basics. Nobody would stand out absolutely because they had great voice modulation. But if you don't have any voice modulation, there's a chance of losing out slightly. So when you write your script, you have to allow yourself that opportunity to give voice modulation. For example, something that's very fast-paced and then immediately something that becomes slightly slow-paced. An area where you can increase your voice and then you can bring down your tone. We have a notion where we think that we'll write the script, then I will practice delivery and see where I can bring in voice modulation gestures. But if your script doesn't allow you those areas to bring in voice modulation and gesture, you will be force-fitting them. So when you're writing your script, think of it. Am I doing an emotional up and down? Or am I doing areas where I can ask something and pause? Am I allowing myself to bring in certain gestures, to show towards certain things, to bring in certain characters, whatever be based on your story? But you need to allow the script to give you opportunities to use the skills of speaking. So these are a couple of things that you want to bring in your body. Make sure you reimagine the scenario, have those genuine emotions, ensure that it allows you to use the skill sets of speaking, use the power of visual words. And the one other thing that you want to focus on is transitions. When you move from your story, let's say you are doing a story which has a time span of about a month. Now, when you're transitioning, or it's a story where you've spoken about one incident and how that led to another incident, finally, what's the message it left with you for life? The transitions need to be fluid and not abrupt. Like I was saying this, and suddenly I started saying something. It cannot be that way. It has to be a genuine and a fluid transition from one part to the other. We often overlook the transition while writing a script. We write our first para and we start off our second para with something absolutely different. So make sure that you connect the dots and ensure your transitions are smooth. If you were the listener, this is how you need to look at it, that if I am the listener and somebody told me this para and then told me this para, am I even able to connect? Or is it just sounding to me that a different story got started? So that's how you need to think of your transition. They always need to have a connection, that from this happened, and from this happened, and finally come to your message. So that's about the body. And coming to the conclusion, it has to have something for the audience. Your story will be more of a I, yourself. What was your story? What did you do? What did you learn? But your conclusion needs to be you. And your conclusion is the option where you can balance that I and you ratio between yourself and the audience. So make sure that it has an impact. It need not be an out-of-the-box, rich in vocabulary message. It needs to be something that will stay back with your audience. So that's about the conclusion. Now that's our structure. We'll move on to the streamlining. This part is important because I'll ask a question here. How many of you have often written a script, delivered, and then realized it's more than 7 minutes, 30 seconds. The speech is way longer than we thought. So how do we cut then? We know that everything in the speech is important. I've written it with immense passion. Now, how do I reduce the speech? What you want to do to reduce a speech is 2 techniques. First, you want to read the speech once more and see, is every single thing that you've written in the script adding value to the final message you want to deliver? And if something is just setting context or just generating a laughter, but it's not adding any value, even if you loved that sentence, that's the first one you want to take off. So when you streamline, anything that doesn't add value to your final message goes off. And the second technique of reducing a script is to use the power of merging. So you had 2 separate sentences that you've written. See if you can blend them and make it one sentence, which will make your script slightly shorter. So those are the 2 techniques you want to use. Are they adding value? And secondly, can we merge the sentences? The last thing that we want to do is, how do I deliver? I've done my script, I've written my script, you are all going to do a contest. So what is the difference between writing a script and delivering? For delivering, like I said, the first thing is you just want to relax and speak like you lived it. This really works. If you imagine your friend tells you a story and they just tell you with the same passion and just the way they've lived it, you want to listen because you can see that emotion. So speak like you've lived it. Ensure that your transitions are smooth. You've not abruptly moved on to something else. Make sure that you work with your areas of strength. You enhance the story by putting in those elements where your strengths come into picture. And of course, put more emphasis on your opening and your conclusion so that they create that impact. And most importantly, certain things that you want to prevent: time. When the red card comes in, no matter where you are, come to your message and conclude, because you might have delivered the best ISC speech ever, but if timer says 7 minutes 31 seconds, that speech will still get disqualified. So please be mindful of time. Do not overshoot time. And the second thing is questions. If you are giving questions out to the audience, just ensure that you're doing such questions where the response won't eat into your time. And final thing for all ISC contestants, there is a method of using props. A lot of people bring in props. You can bring in a hat, a stick, whatever suits your story. But if you are going to use props, make sure that when you're practicing with the props. Because on the final day, if your prop doesn't do what you wanted it to do, that will make you nervous, that will make you panic, you lose your flow. So when you're practicing for ISC, make sure that you practice with the same setup, with the same stage. If there's a particular costume you want to wear, in the same costume with the same prop, practice just like how you will deliver. And that brings me to the perfect transition, that even if you're the finest speaker in the room, please make sure you practice. It will have a definite impact on your delivery. Even if you're brilliant, please practice your delivery. That will only make you better. So yes, prepare well for the contest, have a mentor, take their feedback. Don't tell, oh, I love this particular portion, my mentor is asking me to delete it, I won't do that. Don't do that. Have a mentor, get it well mentored, read the judges ballot to understand what all will you be rated on so that you can align your script accordingly. And most importantly, practice and practice well. So that's my time. I'm happy to take any questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Arundhuti. We are all charged to try all these tips and practice for the contest. And one question to you, how do you manage those butterflies in your tummy before this? Sometimes when we start with impact, the voice will trail off because you are nervous. How do you manage it, tackle it?
Thank you so much for that question, Toastmaster Radhika. You just asked something that happens to all speakers, especially if it's a contest. So truly said, I sometimes feel that when my name gets announced and the contest chair says the name, the topic and the name, I feel like I've forgotten my story. I don't remember what my first line is and what was I supposed to start with. So one thing that's worked for me and that I'll share as a tip, like I said, the first thing is, of course, when you practice it a little more, you are a little more confident, you know you've got that flow. You won't sound scripted because you're saying like you've lived it. So don't worry about sounding scripted. There's a common thing. A lot of people ask me how, if you practice 10 times, you'll almost be in autopilot, you sound scripted. That's not true. Say it like you've lived it. It will be genuine. So first thing is practice will give you a little more confidence about the flow. But finally, when you get on stage, no matter how well prepared you are, you'll still be nervous the minute your name gets announced. And the best thing to do is take a 5 seconds. Take a 5 seconds, pause, calm yourself down, just rethink once quickly, and then get started. I would say that 5 seconds, even firstly, the timer won't consider it, but even if the timer considers, that 5 seconds will be absolutely worth it. So please pause. Don't, as soon as they say contestant, this your name, and you get started. Don't do that. Take a 5 seconds, calm down, and then start. You'll be absolutely fine throughout because your nerves would have come down and the butterflies would have settled a little. You would have gathered your thought, and then you can go with the flow.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Arundhuti. This is Arathi here. Very well explained. I have never listened to another education session that has driven so many points here. I have a question. How important is the title, choosing a title for the speech?
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Arathi, for that question. I would say that the title of the speech is important because when judges are judging, this is my general perception, that everybody tends to link your speech to the title. So that way, the title of the speech needs some attention and some work, because it's going to be an important one. So the title of the speech is important, but couple of things to keep in mind for the title. First thing is it shouldn't reveal everything. Like the title just gives out your story. Try to see if you can avoid that. And second thing is the title needs to be related to the story. But one myth that I might say that it may not be as relevant. Sometimes people say that if you've put a particular title of your speech, you need to repeat that title a couple of times in the speech to showcase that your speech really relates to the title, and that's how it ties back. I wouldn't say that's 100% true from my experience. What I would say is your title should be relevant. As an audience, when I'm listening, finally, when you conclude the speech, I should be able to relate that, okay, this was the speech, this was the message, and that's how it is related to the title. It's not necessary to repeat the title in your speech to establish the connection. As long as it's related and it's not 100% revealing of your story, you're good, but it's important.
Thank you, Arundhuti. A follow-up question as well. If you look at all the winning speeches, there is one keyword or one catchphrase that they keep repeating. I see in you, kind. How is that always required, or is that just a trick?
That's a good one. Yes, a lot of World Championship speeches have something that has been repeated, a phrase or a word. I would say it helps, because it helps to create that impact, and it allows you to build towards the final message that you want to deliver to the audience. So if feasible, it's good to put something that is consistent in your speech. The way to do it is at different sections of your speech, you can bring in that line. So it helps, is my genuine opinion. Is it necessary? No, it's not a mandate. If you still have a, say, for example, I'm sharing a very personal life story, there might not be a line that repeats itself because I'm just telling an incident of my life. So as long as I'm able to still draw out a very impactful conclusion, I am good. It's not a necessity, but it does help in building up towards that message.
So this catchphrase need not be your message. it can be anything else, but can lead to your message.
That's right. Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly correct.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Prakash. I have one question.
Yes.
Question is about, I think, I take a lot of time to write. I mean, I don't know, there is no specific timing in the morning or evening. There is no specific timing set, but it takes me a lot of time. Maybe nearly 1 month, even a normal speech I would take, because maybe the perfectionist that plays an important role. But my question is actually how to speed up this. Do you have any tips, tricks, anything?
Thank you, Toastmaster Prakash, for that question. And I can absolutely relate to that perfectionist coming into play to ensure the script is as perfect as possible. So how to speed firstly, it's okay if you take long time to write your speech, because I know of certain contestants who actually prepared the whole year for the next year's contest. And that's how much time they would take 5-6 months to draft that one ISC amazing speech. So it's absolutely okay. That's the first thing. But in your regular context, when you want to deliver speeches and you want to speed up the process, I'll share some things that works for me. The first thing is when a story comes to my mind and suddenly clicks and I feel like this could be one of the stories for one of my speeches, I do make a summary note. I don't write the whole script, but I do make a summary note of what my story is going to be. And then when I get a chance, this is usually what I try to do, is put in some good time and try and write at least 90% of the script at one go. That allows it to speed up a little bit. So I know the story, I know the summary, I put in a little bit meat and I try to do that script at one go. And then I have the same habit as you. I want the script to be perfect, nicely worded, come through well. So instead of spending a lot of time in refining my script, one technique that I use is to deliver in parallel. That is, I write 90% of the script and I practice how to deliver it. While delivering, sometimes I feel that this particular thing is not sounding as good as I want it to sound, and I make the edits while delivering. So I'm not necessarily going back and rereading my script and editing. I'm also practicing how to deliver and making tweaks as I deliver. So that way my script gets refined and I'm also ready to deliver. So that time gets shrinked and it helps to speed up.
I think you answered another question that I wanted to ask as well, because when I deliver, I get to refine the speech a lot of time. I usually refine it, and yeah, that also takes a lot of time. Yes, this is a idea. Thanks for
So
that.
a little bit of parallel run helps, and it's okay if your speech delivery, the final speech you delivered, is not verbatim of your script. They're absolutely fine, because end of the day you want to deliver finally what you want to communicate. So that's absolutely okay.
Yeah, that never happens. As someone said, we always have 3 speeches, right? The one that we write, one we deliver, and one we wanted to deliver.
Yeah, that's quite true. Thank you.
Hey Arundhuti, Jasna here.
Yeah, hello.
I just hello. It was a very enlightening session. Thank you for that. Just wanted to check one question. Actually, the first thing that I learned when I came to Toastmasters is how to use quotes within your speeches to enhance them. Now, I have seen different usages of quotes. I've seen people use it in the beginning. I've seen some use it in the middle and also some at the end. And I think the first speech I tried, I think the only speech that I tried, I used quotes even in the middle as well as at the end. So where do you suggest it is the best to bring it in? Is it the beginning that will make a more impact, or is it towards the end?
Thank you so much for that question, Toastmaster Jasna. And I'm glad you learned this technique in Toastmasters. So coming to where will a quote make the most impact? My honest answer to that is it will have the best impact where it's most relevant. Because I feel certain things that we think of as slightly illusional, that is, my speech should start with a quote, that's where it best suits, or I should end with a quote because that'll leave an impression with the audience. I would say it can be done, it's okay to do it, but it's not the necessity. It is not necessary that my quote needs to be in the beginning or the end. I can always start a speech with a question and end with a quote. That's perfectly fine. Where a quote will make an impact is where the quote is most relevant. I've told a story and a quote perfectly fits with it. Like last day I did a speech where I was telling a story about how it was all messed up in the beginning, but finally at the end, I realized that, okay, things fell in place and it all had a purpose. So I put in a quote right in the middle of my story saying all well that ends well, because it was most relevant there. So wherever your quote ties back correctly is where you want to put it. And one definite suggestion I will give is, just because we should use a quote, do not force fit a quote. Forcefully, I want to have a quote at the conclusion just because somebody's told me a quotation at the conclusion creates an impact. That's not true. The conclusion can be your lived in message without any quotes. So put a quote where you've known of a quote and it fits very well with whatever you were delivering, rather than putting it anywhere in the speech just because it's a mandate. I hope that helps.
Thanks for that. Like I used to think differently. Using a quote, like after joining Toastmasters, it by default comes to me, so I feel like the relevance part is still in it, but I was always confused as to whether it is better to put it towards the beginning or the end. And I think the second point that kind of hit me was like, maybe you can make your speech more impactful if you actually put in quotes. So that was my thought process all along the line, but I'll keep what you said in mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Anything that like I said, if you really believe in it, that's what will create the impact. So it doesn't matter whether it's a quote or it's just it's a quote of your own. That's something you've learned with life. It's absolutely okay.
All right. Thank you.
Perfect. So timer showing a red card. I'll do a quick check. Any final questions from the audience? And assume. This is what I've learned in the virtual world, that silence means a no. So I'll take that as no further questions. Just before I sign off, I must say, I'm not available on any social media platform like Facebook, Instagram. I don't have any of it, but I am available on WhatsApp. And my number is there with Toastmaster Prakash. So if there's anything that you all need in the course of preparing for the contest, you want to check something or just want to clarify something, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'll definitely come back with a response. Finally, before I sign off, one thing for all ISC contestants, please read the rule book once. Please read the rule book once because it's important. And I would say that you're not only preparing for club, you really want to go far. So it's important you know the rules of the contest. Like we spoke about, quotation comes under the bracket of reference. We must ensure that we've done it right. So that's why please read the rule book once, prepare well, get it mentored, and all the best for contests. Happy contesting to everyone. And with that, I'll hand over to Toastmaster Vineetha.
Thank you, Arundhuti. That was a really wonderful session and it was very informative and it has been helpful for all of us. I think one of the things that I struggle is when I have to cut my speech down and I have to streamline, because when I would have written some beautiful quotes which I like, and then if I have to cut it, I feel really sad. So I will keep that point, what you said, in mind. And also I like to think that we have to even practice with costumes on. So there are so many helpful tips, but so I think this is a wonderful session. And another thing that I was from the starting of the meeting, I was actually looking at your background. It is filled with trophies. Is it Toastmaster trophies of the competitions that you have won? I think everybody wants to know that.
Well, some of it is Toastmaster and some of it is some of the other sports that I participate in. So it's a mix, I would say, but a bit of Toastmaster. Thank you.
Okay, anyway, thank you so much, Arundhuti. It was a really great session. Thank you. So now if all of you are ready, let us move on to our next session, which is prepared speeches. So we know that prepared speeches are where the Toastmasters practice and perform the delivery of a prepared speech in front of an audience. And we have an evaluator doing the formal evaluation of the speech. So today our speaker is Toastmaster Kavita, who is attempting her speech in Dynamic Leadership Level 2. And the evaluator for the speech is Toastmaster Arathi. Toastmaster Arathi is Associate VP in Suntech. She's an avid Toastmaster since 2013 and a dual member of the Trivandrum Toastmaster Club. Her areas of interest are public speaking, yoga, and arts and crafts. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is according to the before. The evaluator is actually Toastmaster Prakash, right? There has been a small change. That is a small, okay. So Toastmaster Prakash is working at Tata Elxsi, and I'm really sorry because I have prepared for Arathi, but I know the Toastmaster Prakash is a very avid Toastmaster and a very good mentor. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Prakash to share the objectives of the speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Prakash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. I was actually happy, maybe, if Arathi jumps in. Anyway, yeah, Toastmaster Kavita is attempting her level 2 speech in dynamic leadership. The speech, the project is understanding your leadership. The purpose of the speech is that, the purpose of the project is for the member to identify her primary leadership style and talk about it. Talk about some aspect of it, or maybe generally about the leadership styles that she has come across. The speech should be well structured and organized. The member may choose to speak about her own leadership style or leadership styles in general and the impacts of those leadership styles. The speech may be humorous or anything, humorous or informational. So with that, I wish all the best to Toastmaster Kavita. Back to you, Toastmaster Vineetha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prakash, for explaining the objectives of the speech very well. So the speaker for today is Toastmaster Kavita. She's an architect at Exia Technologies, and she loves trying something new, whether it is new recipes or learning a new technology or a new language. So today we have attempting the first prepared speech, Toastmaster Kavita. Money, ammunition or manpower? Money, ammunition or manpower? Toastmaster Kavita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. Can you see me?
No, you are. I mean, you are not visible. It's black. The screen is black.
Okay.
Okay, so I think there is a small trouble, so we can just wait for her. So I think all of you might be thinking about the speech contest, and now I'm sure that now itself you might have ideas. Like you might have so many different ideas already, and maybe based on the tips that Arundhuti said, you might be thinking, okay, maybe if I have a quote, or should I choose a question? Maybe you would have already got a question, or maybe you might have 2-3 topics in mind, and this might have helped you to decide which speech to say. So I think that was really interesting.
I think we can go for table topics, and maybe Kavita can work on her.
Okay, so then let us all move to the exciting session, which is the table topic session. And I know this is a very exciting session because everybody can just jump and speak. So today we have Toastmaster Aashik with us as the table topics master. And this is a table topic session where we all have an opportunity to try our extempore speaking. And Toastmaster Aashik, he works as an innovative engineer at Ernst & Young. He's a movie buff and he loves cycling. So I invite Toastmaster Aashik, the table topic master of the day, to start the session. Over to you, Toastmaster Aashik.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. So everybody must be excited to participate in table topics. There are a variety of topics that I have selected at random. There are some funny things as well, but okay, let's get started. Any volunteers?
I can volunteer. So then after that, I can concentrate
Okay.
on the group.
Okay. You can choose a number from 1 to 13.
Okay, I'll choose 1.
Okay. What's one downside of modern world?
What's one
Ah.
downside of?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. You can see my slide as well, right?
Yes, yes, I can see. Okay.
What's the one downside of modern day world?
So thank you,
Yeah.
Toastmaster Aashik, for that topic. What's one downside of the modern day world? I think this topic is very relevant. But again, this topic also, according to the theme of the day, I think it is also based on our perspective. I have heard that sometimes the present generation have a myopic view of the younger generation. Like, they say that I can think about my parents or my grandparents or even the relatives. They might say the children of today's generation, they're not good. The generation is being very bad. In olden times, it was very good. So that is something that I have heard, but they are not entirely wrong. So what I can say is one of the main drawback of the modern day world is the lack of connection. Like in olden days, most of the time we have joint families. So the children and the parents and the grandparents and relatives, all of them are lived together. So the grandparents can take care of the kids. The grandmothers will be telling stories. The relatives will be there, the aunts, the uncles, cousins. So this will actually make the children learn a lot of things. Like when you live together, you learn how to share, how to care, how to be responsible for others, how to be accountable for others. But in today's world, that is very less. First thing is, it is a nuclear family. So we have very 2 people maybe at the house or 3 people at the house. So that is less. But the other thing is, everybody is buried in technology. Like if you have your mobile phones, you have social media, you have Facebook accounts, and you might have 1,000 friends. But if you're sad, can you call any of your 1,000 friends? I don't think so. Most of them are just, hi-bye friends. And it's not anybody's fault. But if you need to have a real friend, if you want to talk about your sadness, you need someone who genuinely cares about you. Someone who can, listen to your sadness, to listen to the worries that you have or the sadness in your eyes. So you need a person for that. And for that, I think in the olden days, people had that. People didn't have so many people. They just they had their family, then they had the friends. Whether if it is girls, they would, most of the time the girls or the aunties, they would go to the neighborhoods, they will chat with them. So they know the problems of the neighborhood houses. And most of the guys, especially at 7 o'clock or something, they would just go to the junction and talk with their friends or sometimes even play cards. But during those times, they are talking about their problems. So they have someone. So the emotional sense of sharing with other people brings a lot of peace. So I think that is what we have as a drawback. It is a lack of human connection, which is something that as humans, we crave the most. Thank you.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. That was a nice speech on the downside of modern world. Okay. Any volunteers for the next one?
I would like to volunteer.
I believe that's Aswathi, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. You can choose a number from 2 to 13.
8.
8. Hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, yes. But it's the previous slide.
Let me share my screen once again. Okay. You chose 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, yes, but it's still the same. It's only
Oh,
for
yeah,
me
yeah,
or
yeah. No,
everyone.
I did not change the screen.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Do you believe in luck? That's a topic. Over to you, Aswathi.
Yeah. Luck or skill? I obviously, I prefer, I always tell it's skill, but little bit of luck. You need little bit of luck. I may say 90% skill and 10% of skill. Sorry, luck. Why? Because even though you are a great player, in sometimes you will be knocked out at first time itself for the cricket, right? So for everyone, there is skill is the most needed one, because skill will up you, but luck is always needed to perform your skills. Even though you have skills, if you have no luck, then there is a possibility that you may fail, or you can get a chance to prove your skill. So I prefer skill, but luck is also needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aswathi. That was a nice speech. Like everybody, I feel everybody agrees that luck is also needed. Skill is also needed. Also, luck is also needed. Yeah. Okay. Anyone from the guest like to volunteer? Anyone? I could see there are a few guests. Anyone?
Hello, Preeti.
Yeah, I can take it up.
Yeah. I hope you know what table topics are.
Yes, yes.
You will be given a topic and you have to speak about that topic for 2 minutes.
Sure, Ashish.
Yeah. Okay. Now, you could choose a number between 1 and 13. That is not 8 and 2.
20.
20 is not the 13,
sorry,
1, 3.
1, 3.
Yeah.
10.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
What is the nicest thing someone has ever done for you? Yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Aashik. Is that, yeah, Aashik. How many of you have ever felt happy when your mom has served you or have fed you that one little bite when you were not just a kid? Good morning, Toastmasters and all the guests there. So for me, I think when I was a kid, I always was a very fussy child and I wouldn't eat a lot of things that my mom would make for me. And at the end, she will make me sit, she'll mix everything and just feed me. And somehow when she feeds it to me, it tastes like one of my best and one of my favorite dishes. And I used to wonder, what did she added? Because just few minutes back when I was tasting, it felt me like, what is that? I don't want to taste it again. But the moment she uses her hand to feed me the same thing, it tastes like something out of the world. So I think it's not, it was just the love that she added in it, which made my day and which is something I always cherish. No matter now, even these days, no matter how low I feel or how maybe the old I have become in terms of how compared to when I was child, but still when I get that opportunity, when I go back home to my mom and if she's feeding my niece and nephews, I would sit there for just that one little bite of that food, because it's something which is so valuable. I cannot measure it in money. And the most thing which hurts me is that I cannot have it whenever I want, because I don't stay with my mom anymore after my marriage. So that is something which I would always cherish for my life throughout, that having one little bite of love from her, though she's always there whenever I want it over a call. But sometimes the physical presence of her, which I miss, and most important is the love of that one bite, which would always be there for me. Now, when I see, I have a daughter, 6-year daughter with me, and I keep feeding her at times, and there are phases when she would just deny it, that she doesn't want to eat. I'm just waiting for that one day to come where she would realize that it was just not the food that my mother was making me to eat, but it's the plate full of love, or that bite full of love which comes. And it's like seeing myself growing from a kid to mother now is the beauty that I have. I think one thing which we always can go back and give others is love, a bite of love when you serve them food, or just a smile full of love, so that others always look up to and they remember that this is the person I can go back. Thank you, and over to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Preeti. That was a nice speech, and I could really relate to so many things that you just shared. I was just wondering what my mother made for lunch, what's the curry, and yeah, all those things just came to my mind. Do we have time for one more table topics, or Kavita, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, then over to you, General Toastmaster of the day, Vineetha.
Thank you, Toastmaster Aashik. The topics that you selected was very fun topics, and I think everybody had something to say about it. So thank you for that. So now let us move on to the prepared speeches. So today we have with us Kavita, who is attempting her speech in Dynamic Leadership Level 2. So Toastmaster Kavita on money, ammunition, or power. I am sorry because I had
Money.
Yeah, ammunition or manpower. Money, ammunition, or manpower. Toastmaster Kavita.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha, and sorry everyone for being late and all sort of technical issues this morning. So I have finally landed up in my car, and let's get started. So I met Tony one winter evening, and during our discussions, he asked me, "Hey Kavita, do you need some money, ammunition, or manpower? Whatever it is, just tell me. But you have to ensure that this mission is successful." I was excited at the thought of having some ammunition in my hand. But before you get a feeling, a wrong notion about what was going on, let me tell you, this was not some shady deal that we were having. It was a normal software development, and we were discussing the requirements. And Tony here was a man who had a very good sense of humor. So we were working on this project, and Tony was brought in by our customer to speed up some of the things. And to speed up some of the project work that was in action. Okay, so Tony was brought in to speed up some of the project work that we had in action. So before the meeting, he was ready with the points that need to be discussed, and he had all the deadlines also in place. And as a leader, what I did, I just jumped to my team. I went there and told them, "See guys, we have this project, we have these other things to be done, and let's get started." I was showing the pace setter leadership style that I have. I was sprinting ahead, and I expected my team to sprint ahead. It was a team of experienced engineers. They had their own reservations. The first week into the meeting, it was firearms. We were fighting with each other. And the customer called, people were locking horns. It was total pandemonium. I thought there's something wrong here. Something has to change. So I went back to the drawing board. I called my team and told them, "See guys, this is not working." We had long discussions. we broke down the task into smaller tasks and came up with recommendations on what are the risks, what is the mitigation strategy, and how we can proceed completing the project at hand. Interestingly, the timeline that we decided was the same as Tony had expected, and we could deliver in time. Now, what changed here was the team was same, but my leadership style had changed. I went in from pace setting to being a democratic leader, wherein I get suggestions from people. I give everyone time to express their thoughts, gather their thoughts, and then make decision. Now, this will not work always. It will work only if you have a small team or you have a team which is highly skilled and experienced. So the project could be concluded in time. Now, so the project went on and we could conclude things of time. Now, what is the moral of the story? What changes your timelines is not something like money or ammunition or even manpower, but you have to empower your team to do their very best, to empower them to come out with their suggestion, come out with their idea. And more importantly, as a leader, you should be able to modify your style to meet the needs of the situation. Moral of the story, two things: empower your team, adapt your leadership style, and win the battle. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Kavita. That was a really wonderful speech. And I should also really appreciate that, you gave the speech from the car. I think if it was me, I would have got so nervous and so tense that I don't think I would have delivered that speech. So that is really appreciative. So very good. Now I just have a small confusion. Should I call the evaluator for the speech right now or no? I can move on to the evaluation section, right? Okay. So, so now let us move on to the last session, which is the evaluation session. And I know it's a session that everybody is eagerly waiting because we want to know how we performed. So to start with the evaluation session, I cordially invite the general evaluator for providing the feedback of the participants for today. Over to you, Toastmaster Radhika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. For the interest of time, I'll jump right into the evaluation process. So I'll call upon the timer to give the timings of the prepared speech, and then we can go to the prepared speech evaluator for his feedback.
Radhika, I will go for last, maybe after the evaluation. So don't point.
Okay, so let's start with the tag team. So the timer, please explain the timings and the timer card, and then we can move on with the feedback from others. Over to you, Toastmaster Prabin.
Thank you, Toastmaster Radhika. Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Radhika. As timer, we started meeting near to 4 minutes late, and introduction section almost we done on time, and that education session, Arundhuti, it's take 20 minutes 52 seconds. Anyways, we have that extra time, so we can make it correct actually. And that Q&A for education section, it takes more than 5 minutes. It takes near to 9 minutes 54 seconds. That question and answer section, we take some more time. And that second Kavita speech, it takes exact 4 minutes 1 second. So she covered that. She finished her speech, prepared speech on time. And we move to the table topic. So only 3 participants today. So Vineetha takes 2 minutes 5 seconds, and Aswathi takes only 57 seconds. So we need 1 minute to make it. We need to take 1 minute for table topic section, and Preeti take 2 minutes 50 seconds actually. So that's okay. And yeah, that's it actually. We are waiting for the evaluation section. After that, I will share the time for evaluations. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster Radhika.
Super, thank you very much. And over to Aswathi for the counter report.
Hi. For Arathi and Arundhuti, I didn't find any crunch words or the filler words. And Prakash, used 2 times, are used 4 times. And Vineetha, so, used multiple times. And Radhika, used multiple times. And Jasna, used 1 time. And Aashik, used multiple times. And Preeti, used 2 times. Kavita, used 3 times. And so used 2 times. And Prabin, used 3 times. And used multiple times. And last but least for me, I used multiple times. Over to you, Radhika.
Look at her happy smile for using multiple times. So let us hear from the grammarian. Over to you, Toastmaster Arathi.
Thank you, General Evaluator Radhika. I had 2 roles as a grammarian to monitor the word usage. I would say as a grammarian, I had been very myopic in choosing the word of the day because we had very few usages. Only Vineetha used it as part of a speech, and Kavita when she was prompted to use it right after the speech, and I used it once just trying to fit in there. A better word would have been good, or the grammarian could have prompted the use of it. Now, the second part as a grammarian looking for good usages, I had a lovely meeting. In fact, I've written down lots. Vineetha as the TMOD, she got the maximum speaking slot and she used it beautifully with her words. I love the way she said, when the dad calls out, baby, what is wrong? Instead of just saying, what is wrong? By adding that word baby, that brought in a little nice touch. Other usages like wailing, half full, half empty. We have heard that so much, but how many times do we remember to use that to increase our style of language? Good in every bad situation. And I think she got this one wrong. A black cloud in silver lining. It should be the other way. The silver lining of the black clouds. I think you got that messed up. Other good usages, streamline. Well done, Vineetha. Your vocabulary is very good and you've used that well in the speech. Radhika's usage, nick of time. Very impromptu usage, I know, because it was an issue that she faced. Arundhuti's speech was full of, I don't see Arundhuti here, but it was full of great usages. She said all the time, let's collectively see, respect the time that they have given you. Energetic roller coaster, play to your strength, sets you up as a speaker, elude genuine emotions, come with you on that journey. Power of visual words, transitions should be fluid, don't force it. And simple words like reimagine, time span, verbatim, in her regular sentences, upgrades your sentences. The word reimagine itself is so powerful, we could fit it into any of her words. Jasna's good usages, the point that hit me. Preeti, again, good usages in the short talk, out of the world, made my day, bite of love. Kavita, hats off to you for not saying no to the speech and for your grit to take it. Her good usages, pandemonium, back to the drawing board, win the battle. Some usages that we could have improved. Someone said, why? Because, so that's a more conversational style. It should have, if you wanted to use that, you could say why, because you could put a pause in between. But when you say why, because it looks like it has been translated from your mother tongue to English. Another way to use it is, why is that so? Because, so this is just one example because this came up in table topics and the speaker was probably caught off guard. It's okay. Another usage was, that's appreciative. We could say it is much appreciated. It's better not to use appreciative there. And we also saw, we take some more time. the speaker takes so much time. It is in the past tense, so we should be using we took some more time, she took so much time, etc. So it's in the past tense, and it would be good if you could adjust the tense of the word. With that, as a grammarian, I totally enjoyed. I'll send the list in our group, and I think Arundhuti's speech itself is a case study for good usage. We can re-watch the recording and learn a lot from it. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Arathi. And so we are ready for the evaluation of the prepared speech if Prakash is good. And
Yes.
then I will come back to the general evaluation for the event or the meeting for the day.
Yeah. Thank you, Radhika. First of all, Kavita, let me give you a big round of applause for delivering the speech from the car. Truly, remarkable. The story started really well. The Tony, the name, and when you started the story, we were all there with Tony, and we wanted to know what is going to happen. That's really wonderful. And the personal connect. I mean, we were all able to connect to the story because of the problem in the project, or the problem that is happening. And maybe because we were all working in that, field. Then the point about transforming from a base setting leader to democratic leader, that also was a wonderful message that you have given there. But when it comes to the suggestion, of course, there is a limitation on the place, and because of that, you are really distracted. That's clearly visible. And like I said, the story started really well. We were all with Tony, but we don't know what to do after that. We were somehow felt you left Tony and us there. I think that's the one point that I have. Maybe I thought maybe a little more preparation would do good, or the plays have played spoil sport in this. I think that's the only suggestion that I can give right now. But overall, like Arathi said, I really appreciate it, your grit in delivering this speech from the. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Radhika.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prakash. Yes, it was the grit that has come through, the determination that will do the prepared speech today as scheduled. So hats off to Kavita for that. And the overall feedback or the evaluation of the meeting today. Yes, as Prabin has mentioned, the time management was pretty good, except for a few lapses. We were delayed by 5 minutes, and then we did have the educational segment that prolonged for 20 minutes with a 10 minutes Q&A, but it was worth it. We couldn't ask for more. So it was really educational in nature. We all benefited from it. So I will discount that extended time that we have taken for to improve. TMOD, exuberant in nature. She managed the goof ups or the glitches beautifully. The flow was maintained. And President, as always, weaving the story and nuggets of wisdom. And then as the evaluator also, speech evaluator also, he had brought in all the positivity and the encouragement. Table topic speakers, excellent. All of them. They have done 2 minutes, 5 seconds. Aswathi just below to 1 minute. Preeti just overshoot a little bit, but the storytelling was very impactful. Kavita, her speech was good, and she managed it pretty well, no matter what the challenges that are thrown at her. So it's very true to the Toastmaster style. Whatever happens, come rain or shine, I will be able to manage and a team, give it a shot and reach for the goal. That is determination. So evaluators details were, when I look at areas of improvement, yes, evaluators details were a little mixed up. But overall, even on a Saturday, it's worth spending 1.5 hours interacting with all the team members and get energized for the weekend, the rest of the weekend. So thank you very much. And back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Vineetha.
Thank you, General Evaluator Radhika. You have provided a wonderful evaluation of everyone in all. So, Toastmasters, so we have come to the end of another wonderful session. And let me leave this session with a small perspective. And that is, all of us face obstacles in life, and happily ever after, it only exists in fairy tales and movies. But how we deal with these obstacles, they make all the difference in the world. So every negative situation is a chance to bring something positive out of it. So I'm hoping that after listening to today's talk about perspective, all of you with a little effort, you choose to take life's lemons and make lemonade out of it. So thank you. And over to the President, Toastmaster Prakash, to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vineetha. What a wonderful session. Thanks for hosting this session. There were a lot of struggles. Even before starting the meeting, we were all struggling to get the role plays, but you managed it really well. Thanks. And you stepped in to take the role of TMOD. Thank you for that. Can I get guest Pradimina to come on video and speak for maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute about what do you think about this meeting?
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so sorry. I'm not in a position to turn on my video. I'm sick and I'm bedridden today. So please bear with me. And I'm very happy to be a part of such wonderful session. I enjoyed throughout the session. And this is my first session.
Thank you. How did you come to know about this? Where are you?
Through my friend Radhika. We both work in the same organization.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And thank you very much, Radhika, for making me a part of this session. And I'm happy to be a part of all the sessions going forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Radhika. Thank you. So, Preeti, would you like to come on video and speak? What do you think about the meeting?
Sure. Thank you, Prakash. It was a great session. I loved each and every role player, how they performed their roles. The meeting was full of energy, so it was very good feeling on a Saturday morning. And on bang on that, Aru was there for the script for the education session, which was very enlightening. I enjoyed the session, and I wish all the best to everyone for the next few upcoming sessions. Thank you, Prakash.
Okay, thank you, Preeti. Yeah, so with that, we are reaching the end of the session. Thanks, everyone. And before that, one thing that I wanted to convey is we have the contest on 11th March. Next week, Saturday morning session. So please nominate yourself for the contest. That's really important because there are a lot of other things that we need to do to arrange a lot of other things, including judges and role plays, plus the plays, whether it is hybrid meeting or physical meeting, all those things that we need to manage. So just nominate yourself by today or tomorrow at the earliest. Yeah, with that.
The voting is in. I've put it in your chat. Zoom
Okay.
chat.
Sorry about that. Yes, the best table topic speaker is Toastmaster Preeti, good speech, and we were all, I could see a lot of love emojis during your speech. And best role player, of course, Toastmaster Vineetha. Thank you. With that, let me officially conclude this meeting. Thanks for joining this meeting. Thank you.